Welcome to the Chwang Vibes, your leisurely small talks with Tiffany Wang and Henry Chang. You can catch us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube, and WTBU page, and Instagram. Yes, I remembered that, because this isn't our first time recording this.
No, it's not. You can thank Tiffany Wang for that one.
It's been such a haphazard this afternoon for just me.
Yeah, I didn't really do anything.
So my camera's memory card somehow says it's full, but it's not. It has 0 file on it. So I had to erase data from my laptop, and I don't know why that happens, but we're good to go.
But we're back. we're better.
Stronger than ever.
Yeah, you know, what doesn't kill you should have killed you. You just got lucky. Wait, that's not the saying. Anyways, Tiff, how was your week?
It feels weird to say this a second time.
It was good. Hey, that's great.
But the daylight savings really messed my time up, and
Yeah.
I was late to every class. And
I said the previous recording, I'll say it now, that wasn't daylight savings, that's just you.
But I think it is because that didn't happen in the previous weeks. And I just thought I was late to a class for more than an hour because I fell asleep. And then I just realized, oh wait, the class actually just started 10 minutes ago and I just slept for 20 minutes. So I think my perception of time is distorted. Yeah.
There's a lot of things in you that are distorted, not just time. My week, thanks for asking, was pretty good. I feel like I crushed my law exam, which I was worried about because I thought it would crush me. Thankfully, that went the other way around. It's been a beautiful week, kind of.
I'm gonna make it clear that yesterday there was a tornado outside with snow.
And I'm gonna make it even clearer. I didn't go outside.
Actually, it's Monday. I think so.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay, that's cool. Anyways, sorry for the short introduction. We've already gone through it a couple times. I mean, like at this point, no one cares about their weeks anymore. Let's get into our topic, right? Because something I didn't actually want to talk about, given the fact that our platform isn't so much to use for pushing, agendas.
Oh, that was the word in my head.
Yeah, agendas. But given the fact of the recent months of Asian American hate crimes, to be more specific, the fact that I am Asian American, you are Asian in America, so I'm going to consider you Asian American in that case. It applies to us, right? And
the thing is,
okay,
like,
sorry, I didn't want to finish that sentence anyway.
The thing is, you don't have to be Asian American. Like, they're not gonna check your passport to see what your nationality is. If you look like faintly Asian, they're gonna think you're, a target.
That's why I haven't been targeted once.
Oh, because
I'm so big.
Yeah,
I give off this aura.
So, our topic today is the times when being Asian worries you. And
worries. Where in Boston University there's a dining hall called Warren, similar to Worries.
That's a connection, but not really a connection.
Sorry.
But back to the topic. I heard this rumor that, Asian people tend to be short. Do you ever worry about that?
Do I ever worry about that? When I was 5 years old and I was 6 feet tall, no, I didn't have that worry.
Oh, I was surprised.
Yeah, shocker. But on a more serious note, there has been a lot of, I feel as if, increasing pressures for me and you to talk about this, given that we have a platform and we reach people, and we do represent the Asian community to an extent.
Yeah.
It's important for us to talk about it on our platform and give our perspectives, talk about it, work it out, right? And come up with some great conclusions, right? So that's what we're gonna do for you guys today. It's gonna be beautiful. It's gonna be fun. Well, maybe not so much fun, but it's gonna be interesting. How about that?
Yeah, but more serious than ever.
Yeah, well, okay, it's a serious topic, but we are as unserious as humanly possible, so...
I think I started the topic in an unserious way.
Yeah, also, it's just hard being serious for me. I laugh at everything, but this I'm not going to laugh at. I swear to God. So we're going to talk about a couple of time periods, right? Before COVID, right when COVID hit, the phase during COVID, and recent times, right?
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about things that happened to us, things that happened to our communities, people around us, things that were seen to be normalized that we shouldn't normalize, right? And so I know I talked to you recently about before COVID, but you didn't have much to say, nor do you ever. I will start with my perspectives of being Asian American before COVID, right? A lot of implicit racism, a lot of slurs that almost were passed by as jokes, right? So there's a very common conception from comedians, right? Asian Americans or Asians in general are fine to be targeted as the brunt of your joke, right? You can make Chinese accents, you can feign an Indian accent because they don't have these sort of connotations, right? But you joke about African American, in a way, you're going to be instantly canceled.
Yeah.
Your face is going to be all over social media. You're going to get hate messages everywhere, right? As you should, in a sense, but not the same sort of reaction for Asian jokes, stuff like that, right? So I remember Steve Harvey, a very, very famous African American comedian, would make fun of a lot of Asian Americans, right? And he said it's his job as a comedian, and if you can't take the joke, then whatever, right? But no matter how much you say, listen, it's part of the joke, it's not part of a joke, right? Making fun of someone's cultures, making fun of someone's state of being is not funny, right? And so just because everyone laughs doesn't mean that it's funny, right?
I think a lot of comedians do that.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of comedians do it, and I don't think it's become a issue until the last couple of years, frankly. I think it's been completely normalized and accepted, almost encouraged, right? For many, many years during 90s, early 2000s, because, honestly, the brunt of the jokes were African Americans. And that clearly there was a big movement towards getting that out, but there wasn't a big movement for Asian Americans, right? I mean, this goes way back to 1940s and 50s of the LA riots.
He went all serious on this.
Thank you. I know, I did a lot of research for this one. Where, we were at the brunt of attacks on stores. I've never seen so many good-looking Koreans in the 50s with guns. So cool. So sexy.
Oh!
I'm just kidding. But yeah, and we never talk about that. When I studied American history, that wasn't part of my curriculum, right? We talk a lot about
World
War
about
II,
that.
Civil War, but we never talked about stuff towards Asian Americans. I'm American. You're basically American at this point. She has McDonald's nearly 5 times a day at this point.
Well.
But yeah, so it's something that's gone under.
For me.
Sorry.
Gone under the radar. Yeah, I'll finish your sentence.
Thank you.
Yeah, but
we finish each other's sandwiches. Right, that's
no, don't take my sandwich.
Okay, sorry, my bad.
No, but I'm actually surprised that you noticed a lot of racial slurs, because Henry asked me, did I feel discriminated or did I feel racism in the past few years? And I thought for a long moment, and I was like, not really. So I only have before COVID basically 4 years of high school to go with, and I think probably it's because like me personally, I don't hang out with white students a lot, so that probably avoided a lot of incidents that might happen. But I definitely have friends who are like poked fun at on the street.
So I have an experience pretty similar. It actually was my freshman year of BU, right?
In Boston.
In Boston University. So I was at the gym with my roommate at the time. Great guy, love him. Hopefully he's doing fine. And we were walking back to our dorm. It was around 7 p.m. It was I remember this. It was really shocking. And a school bus full of BU lacrosse girls drove past us, yelling words like "ni hao" and other racial slurs I'm not going to repeat. Right? I was like, really, man? It was shocking.
It was a BU lacrosse team?
Yeah, it was a BU lacrosse team.
Wow.
And, okay, I wasn't like, I was pissed, but why would you do that when you're getting parked 5 feet away? If I had an issue and I walked up, I know you guys are, I know where you're going, right? If you're like 5 miles away from BU, sure, I can't chase you. But I turned around and I saw where they parked, and I went over to them like, are you guys idiots? What are you people doing? Anyways, it was just shocking, right? Because they have this protection of security, fake security, being in a bus with their friends, and they think it's okay, right? It's not okay.
And I think people in cars like driving by really like to just spill things out on like Asian pedestrians. I think it's like so fun.
They spilled butter on you? Oh, like slurs.
Like spill words on people.
Okay.
Like
what in the heck was that?
On just like people walking next to them.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, it's all too common.
Yeah.
Right. It's something that shouldn't happen at all. That happens more often than not.
Mm-hmm. But that compares to what happens during COVID and after COVID. Like, isn't that even that serious anymore?
Yeah. So that was before COVID, right?
Mm-hmm.
COVID hits, and we see a new precedence take over from our president Donald Trump, who's tweeting the Chinese virus, the Kung flu, to increased hate crimes on Asian Americans and you start to hear grandmas who are 90 getting pushed over at stores. Yeah. First of all, really? A grandma? You couldn't even choose if you're gonna do it, try me. Try me. I dare you.
And you will be pushed over?
Well, I'll be like, ow. Stop it.
So at first, I knew that this hate toward Asians is always here. And my mom and my grandparents were always super worried about it, and I was always the one saying, no, it's not present at where I'm at. Mm-hmm. I'm in New England, it's not here. It was probably more serious in the South, but it's definitely not here. And
yeehaw, brother.
and all my teachers and classmates are educated on this issue, and I never feel threatened as an Asian in America. But after COVID hit, that is changing.
Yeah.
So at first it's the mask issue, and I was just surprised. And at that point I was just ridiculing people who don't believe in masks and saying, and they were poking fun at people who were wearing masks at the very beginning of COVID. But at that point I didn't take it seriously because I knew this hatred was always here, and I didn't think it's gonna get heated or anything. But then all those new policies toward international students, and then reducing their work opportunities, and all those bad things Trump is trying to say about China, I was and even then I didn't take seriously. I had great confidence.
You wanna know why you didn't take it seriously? It's because we're not serious people. I'm reiterating this one more time.
I don't know why I had such confidence in America.
It's because you're 6'3", 100 kilos, bigger than most humans combined with their spouse.
No, not even physical danger, but
Well, you just thought you were smarter. You're I'll challenge them to a chess battle and I'll beat them. Watch this.
No, I just thought the majority of people still are not like that.
Oh, that's what you meant. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I took it the wrong way multiple times.
Are not like that, and I don't think that's really gonna impact me until all these work visas were canceled, and then it's not just a joke of the president anymore. I thought everyone's taking him as a joke, but apparently a lot of people didn't. They took him seriously.
Yeah.
And then I saw the news about a man stabbed in New York Chinatown, and even then I thought, okay, that's a coincidence. A lot of crimes happen in New York City. Yep. That's not the same as a spread hatred toward Asian people.
Yeah.
Until I saw the news last night. Oh, actually, we're recording on Wednesday, so the news on Tuesday night that 8 people were shot dead in Atlanta, and they were all Asians, and
6 of them were Asian women.
Yeah, and 6 of them were women, and more people were injured, but they weren't dead.
Imagining the 2 men who just got kind of ignored during the story. Sorry, it's so random. So
I'm trying to be serious here.
So random. But if I was one of them, I would really, guys? What about me?
But when the news first got out, they were saying all but one was a woman, of all the victims, and then
they thought one of the guys was a woman.
No, all but one woman out of all people injured were women.
I see.
Was women.
Yeah.
And then I woke up and they were saying 6 of them were women.
So one of them
I was like, what changed?
Okay, we don't need to get into the specifics of their genders. Okay, I mean, besides the fact that, or at least I'm gonna say 75% of them were women, if not more.
Yeah.
Right. And the reason why this is so shocking is because, frankly, Asian women are probably the least protected part of our society as Americans. I think they are the most susceptible to getting attacked or thrown racial slurs at because they are the easiest in other people's eyes to take advantage of, right? Mm-hmm. Very few times do you see Asian women retaliate or fight back, right? Because we have this pressure, internal pressure to stay silent, right? Staying silent means you're still alive, rather than speaking up means you put yourself and your family at risk, right? That's a completely fine thing, but it's gotten to the point where that silence no longer is acceptable, right? Because it's led to this. I mean, people don't even feel like there's repercussions anymore, right? When someone goes to the drugstore and beats up an 80-year-old woman, he doesn't think there's gonna have consequences as severe as doing that to anyone else.
Yeah, and also
White or
crimes. Yeah, crimes against Asian are rarely on the front page.
Yeah.
Until something of this scale happens, and it's on the front page everywhere.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's hypocritical, right? You see, I mean, listen, George Floyd's death was monumental, but if we don't take the sort of serial killing and attacks directly on a specific race to the same level as we did with Black Lives Matter, then what is the point of having Black Lives Matter, right? Because the whole point of that was to support our fellow African Americans, because there's no difference between them and Asians and whites and Mexicans and anything, right? But it invalidates that when we choose one over the other. When we choose to support African Americans over Asian Americans, simply because it's either A, there's more African Americans, right? B, it's because maybe it's been in the exposure of news for longer, which is 100% true, right? But C, it's because Asian Americans, frankly, are not as valued in American society as African Americans.
Yeah, right? I was going to say the same thing. Like, for a long time, I've noticed this issue, but I was trying to make it legitimate by saying, like, maybe, like, Asians aren't a majority of people in America, or a lot of the international students or Asians aren't Americans, so they cannot vote in elections. That's why, politicians don't care about this population. But now it's getting like a lot more attention, and people are realizing that, even if there aren't that many of us here, or even that's not true, like there's such a huge population, like people are just really silent. They're just taking things as given.
And it's important to address rebuttals and counter arguments when you state things, right? And I'm going to do that right now. A counter argument many people say is that Asian Americans are the top 1% of the economic bracket. And that's because they assume, right, we started off higher and therefore we had an easier time. That's completely wrong, right? It's because of our work ethic, it's because of our culture. It's because we don't resort to just laziness, right? That's not how any of us were raised. And especially if you're from the mainland, there's no acceptance of that. And there's a ton of acceptance of that in America.
I think I'm the laziest one of the bunch.
You're absolutely right. I didn't want to say anything, but preach.
I knew you were going to say it. Even if you're not saying it, you're thinking about it. So I'm going to say it myself.
Maybe. Anyways, in America, complacency is built into the DNA of Americans, right? Because we assume opportunity will be at our front door, right? When you're Asian American, you're a first generation, second generation, you assume you have to fight for that opportunity, right? And so, yes, we are at the top of the economic bracket, but that's because we work so much harder, right? That has nothing to do with given our, he's Asian, so he's better at math, right? That's a common thing you often hear. That's so incorrect, right? It's not that we're better at math. It's that you're bad at math. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, he asked me this. Have anyone ever said this to you? I was like, what? That you should be good at math. I was like, no, never.
Yeah, and I was worried about that because, well, we, shoot, man, sucks. But yeah, it goes really deep, right? Another argument is that, and this is fine to an extent, is the argument that African Americans have been dealing with innate racism within America since hundreds of years. Mm-hmm. It's built into our Constitution. It's built into our independence from Britain. It's built into the roads that we walk on, the buildings that we live in. And to an extent, that's completely justifiable and correct. Mm-hmm. But if I give you an example, right? If I punch you every day for 10 years, or I punch you every day for a year, does it matter how long I'm punching you? Or is it the fact that I punched you once that's the problem?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Right? You wouldn't want, he punched me for only a year and he punched that guy for 5. Listen, you're still going to suffer. It's not a matter, and we shouldn't be measuring, comparing and contrasting suffering to suffering. Both are bad, yes. They both need to be improved, right? But the argument that a lot of people make is, well, they had it worse, so you don't need to worry about yours. You should be fine with yours. That's so ignorant, right?
That applies to many issues.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. And this was precedent before COVID, but I think it was accentuated during COVID.
Yeah.
Right.
As I said, I wasn't really worried about being Asian in America because I thought everyone's, supporting and, changing in this new decade. But I'm surprised I'm more worried now than before.
It's absurd that in 2021 we're still talking about this.
Yeah.
Think about it. It's ridiculous. Right?
Why it went backward was just mystical.
Mystical. Magical. So yeah.
Why are we laughing again?
It's because we have issues. But it's gotten to the point we don't like to use our platform for a lot of radical beliefs, but this is not radical. This is simple.
Yeah.
It's simple. You treat people how you want to be treated. You treat people with respect, right? There's no difference between the color of our skin, the size of your eyes, the origin of your birth does not change or affect who you are as a person. Mm-hmm. The quality of a human that you are, right? It's simple like that. That should be something that we should all understand by now, right? We had this whole movement in 2021 for equality, but we're seeing ourselves degrading further and further away from that equality that we fought so hard for African Americans, right? And so I think it's important that we take our platform for this use. Obviously, a lot of our listeners are Asians and Asian Americans, but some of them aren't, right? Mm-hmm. And I doubt any of them share the same mindsets as, the minority of America. But it's one thing to stay silent and support, right? You have to, it shows through the fact that so many Asian women are taken advantage of. It's because they stayed silent for so long. Mm-hmm. You can't stay silent anymore, right? You have to speak up, or else nothing's going to change. We're going to be considered almost like the punching bag of America. Right?
Ooh, metaphors after metaphors.
I'm like Shakespeare out here.
Yeah. So we are reluctant to talk about news-related stories for big social problems, but I think this is too related to our lives right now. It's not there's this racism issue in the air, but it's so close to us right now. I just really feel the need to talk about it, and also not just security, but my future in America. That sounds really big, but it's not. It's really just about getting jobs and visas, and I never really worried about I wasn't worried about that. I know that I probably don't have the same opportunities as white peers or men, but
just kidding.
but I always felt that if I work harder, if I have this thing that just special to me, like employers will definitely hire me, right?
Special?
No, like
I mean, you are special
No,
in
like-
the wrong ways, but...
no, like skills.
Oh, skills! Oh, my bad. I misinterpreted that again.
I don't know like which way you can even misinterpret that.
No, don't worry about it, man.
But like skills. But now I'm just super worried that those will never be enough. Like I just don't feel like I will have a peaceful stay in America in the,
I think you have to get your hands dirty.
in the
Go out there with a couple boxing gloves. You know what I'm saying? Start swinging.
Okay.
I'm just kidding.
I
We do
should-
not condone violence here. Well, sometimes. Anyways, I'm so sorry to cut you off, but we're going to quickly go to a small break. We'll be back in, well, for you guys, 2 seconds. Welcome back. I know for you guys it was 1 second. For us, it was 13 hours. I've
Yeah.
actually had a change of mind. I'm not going to say anything. It's a joke. You know, I'm going to be a little more serious today
Yeah.
as I lower my voice to show how much more serious I am.
Mhm.
Yes. But before we go, I'm sorry. I saw you about to breathe. Your shoulders were increasing in expectation, ready to say something. I'm going to cut you off before you even do. I'm going to list off a couple of metrics.
What
Right.
do you mean?
A couple metrics are numbers.
I know that, but like
So, right, CNN
oh.
reported recently there's a company called AAPI, Stop AAPI Hate, which is Stop Asian American Pacific Islander Hate,
Oh.
which began tracking violence and harassment against Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders on March 19th of last year, which is around when COVID started, right? And within March 19th to December of 2020, there were around 3,300 complaints filed from all 50 states. A lot of them, right, a lot more complaints weren't filed until this year regarding things that happened last year. But this is a heavy increase from 2019, right? Within the last month of January 1st to February 30th, okay, that's not 1 month, don't think about it, that's 2, there were at least 500 plus anti-Asian hate crimes, right? And that's within 2 months. That is nearly, if I do the math correctly,
Anyone said you're
around-
supposed to be good at math?
I was showing me count. That was a lot. I did the calculation, it's a lot. That's a lot more than usual, right?
Yeah.
So it becomes worrying because I think it has started to move into the underneath the flashlight. There you go. Right. It's become a big problem in America, and a lot of people are speaking out. I follow LeBron James. Screw that guy, I hate him. But even he has been posting on Instagram about supporting his Asian brothers. He's talking about me. I played with LeBron back in 08.
Are you congratulating him for?
No, I hate LeBron. But it's becoming when social media influencers start talking about it, I think that's when you say, people start caring.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't see anything slowing down. I don't see anything stopping, right? If anything, I see it increasing, which is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
I've been saying the word ridiculous a lot. It's been redonkulous, right? And so, before we end our episode, I want to talk about some things that we can take with us in the future, right? Things that we can take with us to improve ourselves, our community, and hopefully make the world a little bit of a better place, right? I'm going to start off, and I'll give you the mic. I know you didn't really expect this. I kind of threw this upon you, but I'm going to give you some time to think, right? And the first thing is don't wait for it to become a big problem, right? I really, 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 really hate seeing people, and frankly, unfortunately, we're doing this too, but I hate it when influencers take this as an advantage to promote themselves, per se. Promote their agenda.
Mm-hmm.
There should be no promoting. There should be one purpose and one purpose only, right? It's to stop Asian hate crimes.
Mm-hmm.
And simply, it's to go further, it's to stop racism in general, right? It's gotten to the point, and the reason why we're experiencing all of this violence is because it's hit a tipping point of they don't fear the consequences, right? I talked about this a little bit at the beginning. I'm going to reiterate it again, right? the way we stop it is we make them fear the consequences, right? We make them not want to attack Asian Americans. It's, with African Americans, I'm sure, and this may sound bad, but this is completely honest, and it's true. Police were probably scared to do anything that could have been lawful or illegal to African Americans, right, last year. Because if they did, they're going to be the brunt of a lot of attention.
Mm-hmm.
We have to have that same sort of energy for Asian Americans, right? So that's my first takeaway. I'm going to throw a little alley-oop to Tiff. Good luck.
I want to say something first about the phrase people of color.
POC.
I never thought that I'm a person of color.
No, you're really pale.
To be honest. So during my first 2 or 3 years in high school, I hear this phrase and I thought it refers exclusively to Hispanic people and black people. And then one day, the teacher's like, "Why are you guys not coming to the this group of students of color? We can talk about issues." And I was like, "Oh, I'm supposed to go?" And
have you ever heard the stories of the 5-year-old boy who's like, "Mommy, I'm black," and they're just completely white?
No, but I hate this phrase because.
Oh, you hate it?
Yeah, because
Tiff doesn't hate much.
Because it's so white. It's white people looking from their perspective to everyone else.
That's just 100%.
So who's not a person of color? Oh, just white people. Oh,
man.
So what is this phrase for? So you are categorizing yourself according to white people's standards. Why should other people be grouped into this group of people of color? And then who's the other group? Oh, only white people. I don't understand.
You're absolutely correct. That is a really amazing point, frankly, right?
Mm-hmm.
And no one ever thinks about that.
Yeah, everyone thinks it's a okay phrase to use, and they're grouping people of color together to talk about their issues, and it's why do you have to isolate these people to talk about?
Well, I think they want to isolate you. They don't want anything to do with you. But for others, yeah, you're 100% right. Sorry for the slander. But yeah, that was a great point. So what is the conclusion of that? I mean, I kind of asked a different question. You kind of went on a tangent.
Yeah, but I think the conclusion is we shouldn't isolate ourselves from
What if I don't like talking to people?
Complying to the standards and way of thinking that's given.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah, and also we should worry about such issues as much as our parents. I was just comforting my parents, thinking it's not that severe, and Boston isn't shutting down because of COVID, and racism isn't that close to me.
Yeah.
But then, parents are always right, even if they are over worrying.
Yeah.
There's certain logistics to it.
I'm gonna add one last point before we conclude this, right? And this shocked me kind of, but I didn't really think about it much when I heard it initially, but now that I think about it, it's kind of, well, I already said that, shocking. My mother is, a very small Asian woman. Shocker, she's Asian. Very small Korean woman. Well, small in my eyes, I don't know, big for others. I don't really know. And I would always hear when she came back from grocery shopping about all the shit which she would have to go through.
What?
So people cutting her off, getting telling her to these things. But it's crazy. Whenever I go with her, there's never a problem. No, and I'm what? I'm kind of, well, I had my popcorn. I was ready to sit. I had a chair with me. I had front row seats.
So you're those weird men on the street.
Okay, why? That wasn't a necessary statement, but thanks anyways. No, it's because, I'm a huge individual and no one ever says anything to me. But I didn't realize that when I'm not there, right, there's people all of a sudden grow the courage to say stuff. It's absurd. It's crazy.
Well,
listen, I'm going to say this once and I'm going to say this again. If you're scared to say it in front of someone who's bigger than you, you shouldn't ever say it in front of anyone, regardless if they're smaller than you or not. Right?
Yeah.
That's just an issue with you, right? If you find that you have the courage to say it in front of a small Asian woman, then you are the scum
Say
of
it
this
to
internet.
bigger people.
Yeah. Try me. I dare you.
And he's
right?
gonna say, ouch.
We can talk it out, right? But you gain the courage to say something because you feel like you can take advantage of someone based off both their gender, their size is disgusting. Sadly, it's a norm that is terrible, right? I mean, Tiff over here, she's looking like the Hulk with her green shirt. Try Tiff. She'll end you too.
Yeah, I'm sorry about your mom, but because I never went through anything like that in the
really
grocery
proud
store.
That I hit you with that Hulk analogy with the green shirt. I've been keeping that in for a while, I'm going to be honest. So I wanted to say that minute one.
This is the color of the season.
Delusion. I was waiting for you to get mad. I'd say Hulk smash, but you never did anything. But anyways.
Oh, is it too late to do it now?
Please don't. Please don't direct a massive amount of anger towards me. Anyways, guys, I do want to say, listen, I appreciate you guys listening to the end of this episode, right? This is one of, if not our most serious episode to date, because it's something that's not just important to us, but it should be important to you as well, right? And so I hope listening to us talk about it, it sparks something in your brain. You're like, oh, you know what? Maybe I am doing some things that I shouldn't be doing anymore, right? We don't want to say, listen, everyone can change, but it starts with you in evaluating yourself, right? When Tiff quit smoking, she had to take I'm just kidding. Tiff has never, well, maybe.
No.
I don't really know at this point, yeah.
Okay.
Shocker. Anyways, guys, thank you all so much for listening. You catch us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, WTBU, if you ever put it up on there, right? Catch us on @Chwang Vibes. Our Instagram is @Chwang Vibes. Our personal Instagrams are @HenryChong314 and @Tiff__Beck. Beck as in Beck Hyun. I hope you guys all have a wonderful week and stay safe out there. Thank you.
Bye.
Goodbye.